What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to show you how to fix some light curb rash. Obviously if it's deeper than this, then your instructions and everything, you know, the way to do it would be a little bit different, but I'll talk about that in this video. So we went through the Taco Bell drive-thru last night for like the 40th time this month, and yeah, I had been doing very good, but I got a little distracted last night, I guess, and just barely rubbed the old curb. So I'm going to show you how to fix that, and you'll never be able to even notice that this happened. This is the #1 reason why I like forged wheels, because if these were black and milled or powder coated, even if they were forged, I guess this is why I like polished wheels, I should say. But we're going to show you how to fix this right quick. You'll never be able to know that it was happened. Nothing super deep. From different angles you can still see. You know, the curb rash is not bad at all. And there's also a spot directly straight across from it. And this one, there's a little bitty gouge right there and a little bitty gouge right there, but again, nothing that's not sandable. You have plenty of lip right here to work with. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this into the garage and show you the sanding steps and talk about it a little bit, and then we'll show you a little bit of doing it and what it looks like after it's done. So we have pulled the truck into the shop here, went ahead and jacked up the wheel just so we can go ahead and leave it on the truck and we can spin the wheel freely. I'm just gonna go ahead and go over everything that you're gonna need. As far as buffs and compounds, the airway wheels and all the compounds are Zephyr. Got a cheap rake off of Amazon, Walmart, palm sander, Harbor Freight, angle grinder up to 3,500 RPMs. It has variable speed right here. Always use safety flanges. One of my safety flanges broke, so I only have one on the back, but gotta live life on the edge sometimes. But I do highly recommend that. You want to stay safe whenever you're doing this. Obviously you want to use a respirator anytime that you're doing grinding or polishing on any kind of aluminum. We're not going to polish this whole wheel. We're not going to polish all 4 wheels. I'm strictly going to show you how to fix the curb rash and polish the lip and get rid of the curb rash. I'm not going to show everything else. We may do that in a later on video. You're going to need some sandpaper. For this curb rash, we're not going to have to go any deeper than 600. So I've got 2 sheets of 600 pre-cut that I already cut and 2 sheets of 800. And that should be plenty of sandpaper to fix both of the sections that are curbed. So I'm going to go ahead and spin the wheel and show you the before, just so y'all can get a good look at that. So there's one of the sections, and then right here is the other section. And this is going to be no problem to take out with some 600. There's also a little bit of rock chips and stuff right through here. I'm going to go ahead and sand that out as well. So this whole lip, we're going to go ahead and sand with 600 grit. After we get the 600 grit all even and sanded all the way through, we're going to hit it with the 800. And then this is going to be a 3-step polish. So we're going to have cut and color. We're going to be cutting it with the yellow buff from Zephyr, along with the brown or red Tripoli Rouge, or whatever you want to call it. You'll get most of this stuff in their shine kits if you buy that. Highly recommend doing that. Then we got the Blue Moon compound that we're going to use last with the flannel wheel. In between those 2 wheels, we're going to use the purple pad with the green moss compound. With the yellow buff, your cut buff, you never want to rake your cut buff. You want to keep it as firm and as hard as possible. That's what she said. And then we've got some Pro 40 to come in here with some microfibers to clean up in between. Since we're just doing this lip, brake clean on it, you can also use the hand polish in between compounds so you don't mix up the compounds. But first, we're going to hook up the sander and go ahead and sand the whole lip of the wheel. So I'm going to go ahead and time-lapse that, and literally you're just sanding until you keep it smooth. Little tip right here, we pretty much are curbed from here to here. So we're going to go past that curb point at an angle. So we're going to be running this at a little bit of an angle, and we're probably going to go to about right here and then to about right here. So you kind of want to feather that in. You don't just want to obviously put your sander at an angle and just get rid of this, because then it won't be even. So your goal is to keep the aluminum as even as possible, and that's just something that you'll learn over time and in person, and every single curb rash is going to be different. This isn't as bad. Obviously, if it was worse, then you would want to step down to 400 grit, maybe 220 or 320, maybe even 120. I have took a flap disc on an angle grinder, a flap disc, which is, 60 or 80 grit, and got rid of curb rash before, and then go 80 grit, 120, 220, 320, 400, 600, 800 cut and color. So it really just depends on the curb rash and how bad it is. Sometimes you have to chip away some of this. I use a metal chisel for that. All of this should just sand out, but you don't want it to be super jagged because it's just going to cut through your sandpaper. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and sand this whole lip to you after I get that done. Done. Could have done 400 if you really wanted to, but we got this done, and the main thing is just to get a consistent finish. So you want the whole lip to be very, very consistent and even with 600 grit before you break out the 800 grit and start going up in the grit. So as you can see, the whole lip is just even and smooth, no curb rash anywhere. And now we can start the 800 grit sandpaper, which this should be a lot easier. With the 800, you're using your lower grits to get out the curb rash completely. And then after you get the curb rash completely out and you have an even finish like this, then you're pretty much polishing, but with sandpaper. So now we're gonna step up from the 600 that we got rid of our curb rash with. It actually ended up taking 4 pieces instead of 2. So that's why I was saying I could have done 400 if I wanted to. But I had already started with the 600, and you would have to do the 600 anyway, so I just went ahead and burnt through some more paper. But now with 2 pieces of the 800 will be plenty, because like I said, the curb rash is already completely gone. So now we're just pretty much polishing it with the 800, and then we are going to start the actual cutting process and then coloring it, and then we'll be done. We can slap some Pro 40 on it, but I'm gonna go ahead and set the time lapse up again and hit it with 800. Same thing as I done with 600, just evenly sand around it, except this will go a lot quicker. And then we will start cutting it with this. Okay, we are done sanding, and we can set that over here. We're done with that. Go ahead and plug in your angle grinder. Be very careful with the angle grinder, guys. I can't tell you how many times I've about killed myself with this thing. You don't rake your cut buffs, so I'm going to go ahead and take the red or brown compound, whatever you want to call it, and put some compound on. And then we're just going to go directly like this and spin the wheel a little bit as we go around and around. And you want to do probably 2 passes at least. The more passes that you do, the smoother your finish is going to be, the shinier your finish is going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 passes with the cut buff, and the brown compound right here. And then I'll show you what that looks like. All right, guys, so this still has some compound on it, so that's obviously why it's a little bit hazy. See old Scott right there? Let me zoom in. Oh yeah. But yeah, so the shine is completely there, and this is just the cut process. So you are gonna see some fine marks and everything. And if I pulled this outside, it would probably look brand new and it would look just fine like this. We do have a super bright LED light shining directly at this wheel. So don't get that confused with scratches or anything, but we're gonna go ahead and swap over from the yellow wheel to the purple wheel with the green compound. After we do that, we're gonna do the blue compound on the white wheel, and then just give it a final wipe down with that Pro 40 on a microfiber, and then I'll back the truck outside and show y'all what it looks like. So we just pulled the truck outside, and I was just gonna go ahead and show you the wheel. So as you can see, guys, no curb rash anywhere. Right here is where the curb rash was. Right through here. You can kind of see a little bit of that concrete and polish and stuff on the tire. But that's completely gone. Mirror shine. And of course, as I said, if you sand these wheels completely down, the finer you get this aluminum, whenever you polish it, it's gonna look even better. The smoother you can get this aluminum will make the cutting and the coloring that much easier, and will give you that much of a better finish. So let's say that the grain of the aluminum is relative to like a 400 grit, and then you're polishing it out of that. You know, if you was to do the whole wheels in 120, you know, and get it all 120 grit, and then do 220 grit, 320 grit, 400 grit, 600, 800, 1000, and then cut and color this wheel, the finish is going to be that much better. But just going, you know, the finish was already polished, obviously, and then doing the 600 grit and the 800 grit, and then cutting it from 800 is perfectly fine, and that's going to give you that smooth look. These I didn't actually polish these. They're still, you know, decently dirty. They have water spots and stuff in them, but these wheels are in very good shape anyway. But like I said, didn't calculate it just right in the Taco Bell drive-thru. Go through there, gosh, almost every day here lately, and usually I can fit, and usually I drive it correctly, but this time I didn't. But no big deal. We've sanded out and polished the curb rash, so it's like it's not even there. Didn't lose any money, didn't cost anything, and you can pick up these tools and everything that I've used in this video and do it yourself. If you have curb rashed wheels, do it for a friend, do it for a customer, etc. There's a, you know, you can never learn too much when it comes to this truck stuff. But that's going to be all for today's video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it and learned something out of the video. If you have any questions or any tips and tricks for polishing polished aluminum wheels, then make sure to drop a comment down below. I'm sure some of the viewers will read the comments. So if you have any tips or anything that I missed or looked over, or anything that could even help me become a better polisher, make sure you comment that down below. This is just what works for me. Everybody's a little bit different, but like I said, if you all have any tips or tricks, comment down below. If you all want to share some of your secrets, And yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it, guys. Stay tuned for another part of the F-250 truck build on the channel. Don't forget, if you're new here, click that subscribe button down below. It'll really help out the channel a lot. We are almost to 8,500 subscribers at my point in posting this video. So we're getting close to that 10K milestone, and I'm really excited and super happy. But that's gonna be all, guys. Always remember, everybody starts as a nobody, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.